Welcome to the 2021 Golf Summer Series, race number 12. Tonight, we're here at the Lucas Oil Raceway Park for the Kroger 350. For our second stop in this Midwest tour, we come to this historic and beloved short track that's just 10 miles west of downtown Indy that also so happens to be our third midweek race of the season. But before we get started, let's take a look at our starting lineup. So on the pole with the person who had the most laps at Chicagoland a few nights ago, Nick Sand the 52, and next to him, Hoodlum in the 3 car who has 2 wins so far this year. Row 2 spotted with teammates Reim and Matthew Burnett. Row 3 Dominic Payment and Trey Smith. Row 4 Ross McTrain and Nonagon Scott. Row 5 RC Gamer and Random J. Row 6 Dan Matteillo and Jordan Forbes. Row 7, 2 Atlanta Indy teammates John McFadden and Keshawn Richardson. Row 8, Lipsy and Nelson Reeves. Row 9, Matthew Hill and Herbert Solomon. Row 10, Caleb Rose and Owen Miles. Row 11, Winter Street Stocks champion Ryan Wilson and the winner of the last midweek race, David Johnson. Row 12, Brandon Carruthers and Dan McTrain. 13, who won it from the last race at Chicagoland, Brad Reim, and next to him, Ada Robertson. Row 14, current points leader Jordan Stout, and next to him, the winner of the first midweek race of the season, Brendan Beal. Row 15, Devin Payment, and next to him, Kellen Baker, who of course won the championship last year when this was the finale. Row 16, Johnny Hernandez and Jason Albert. Row 17, current Rookie of the Year leader Joe T and Kyle Salmon. And starting last in row 18 is Movement in the 5. And now it is time for the starting command here at IRP.
Drivers, start your engines.
Let's take a look at the track info here for the night's race. So we're going to go 75 laps on this 3/5 of a mile long short track with 12 degrees of banking in the turns. And as for the weather, 72 degrees Fahrenheit with 10 miles per hour towards the southwest. So the weather tonight definitely a lot warmer compared to last year when this was the finale in October. And also another thing to note is that the AI difficulty is set to 102 to avoid raw lighting incidents like we saw in last year's race. Hope everyone's having a good night here so far, as the pace car is already down pit road with the sellout crowd here at Lucas Oil on their feet. And here we go, coming down the front stretch, we're under green here in the Kroger 350. And already into turn number 1, a great start for the 52 of Nick Sand, as Vela is currently side by side of Hoodlum for second, but off for turn number 2, Hoodlum will clear Vela for second. Down the backstretch and into turn number 3, the 2 Spotted Biffa teammates are side by side for third, as behind them, Dominic Payment and Trey Smith are side by side for fifth. Nick Sand will lead the first lap here at IRP, as Burnett and Vale are still side by side. Burnett currently with the advantage as he go into turn number 2, and will clear Vale for third. Vale will tuck into fourth in front of Trey Smith, who is up to fifth now, as Hoodlum continues to chase down Nick Sand at 52. As we come down to lap number 3 of 75. And of course, you may notice 3 out of the 5 drivers inside this top 5 have yet to win a GSS race. Nick Sand, Matthew Burnett, and Ray Vela, all trying to seek down their first ever GSS wins. All of them also happen to be Chevys. There you see Trey Smith still in 5th. He came this race 24th in the point standings after looking for a good night here at IRP. There's Random J currently in 9th. Trying to keep that streak alive, at least one Pontiac finishing inside the top 10 is behind Random. We got a battle for 10th between RC Gamer and Jordan Forbes in 61. Looks like Forbes will have the advantage off turn number 2, as now RC side by side with Keshawn Richardson for the 11th position. Richardson all the way up to the outside of the track. That's a 42 and 24, still side by side coming to lap number 6. Of course, Richardson came this race second in the standings, 21 points back from the points leader and his teammate Jordan Stout. That 24 team definitely looking for a good run here tonight, as in Chicagoland a few nights ago, they finished below the top 20 after leading 2 laps early in the race. As behind those two is Dan Matteillo in the 14 and Nelson Reeves in the 16. And behind those two, we got a battle for 15 between John McFadden and Lipsy in the 9. As into turn number 2, Lipsy on the high side will clear John McFadden for the 15th spot as Kellen Baker's in the wall off turn number 2 as he hits Johnny Hernandez and Jordan Stout, and they both save it. That was actually very scary for the driver, as I mentioned, who came to race as a points leader. As off for turn number 4, there's still 3 wide as movement with contact with Baker will send him spinning here in the front straightaway. As Devin also gets contact there from that as your defending series champion. We'll bring up the first caution here at IRP. Meanwhile, coming off turn number 4, back to the stripe, will be Nick Sant first to the line. Of course, as I mentioned, Nick Sant led the most laps at Chicagoland a few nights ago, trying to rebound after a real disappointing finish in that race. Well, let's take a look at the instant replay and involved, one of the favorites for the night's race. So all just started actually on lap number 7, going into turn number 1. So into turn number 1 here, Baker and Hernandez get in the wall. Then Hernandez in the middle makes it 3 wide of Baker and Stout. Make contact since both Hernandez and Stout on the apron. Both managed to save it. There's Stout, they're coming back up on movement. And then going into 4 here, they're 3 wide again. This time movement makes contact with Baker's left rear and spins him out. And Devin almost nowhere to go from that 88 as he hits the right door of the 21. Let's go on board with movement. So yeah, definitely missed the first incident with Stout and Hernandez there making contact, and Stout makes contact with movement as he came back onto the track. Then off of 4, Baker's the wall again. It comes down on movement, and Stout comes back up on Baker since the 21 spinning. Let's go on board with Johnny Hernandez. So the off of 2, Baker came back down on Hernandez, sent him and Stout below the apron in the backstretch. And off of 4 here, yep, Baker definitely hit the wall. He came down on movement, which subsequently sent him spinning. As we're under caution here at IRP, involving a defending series champion. We'll be right back with you guys after this. For our final race in this Midwest swing, we come to the cornfields of the Iowa Speedway. They'll be on Monday night at 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. Meanwhile, here at IRP, we're about to go back green after defending series champion Kellen Baker got to contact from movement and sent him spinning in the front straightaway. Devin Payment in 88 also got damage from that. Both drivers are still in the race, albeit 34th and 35th. Currently, your top 3 is Nick Sant in the 52, trying to chase down his first ever Summer Series win. Hoodlum in the 3, currently in 2nd, and Matt Burnett. Round off the top 3 as we're back to green here at IRP. Top 3 get a great restart into turn number 1 as Vela is already side by side for 4 for Trey Smith. Down to backstretch to 66 and 8, still side by side, but currently Vela with the advantage as they go into turn number 3 as Smith is still on the inside. And look like off of 4, Vela will hold on to the 4th position, while Vela's teammate Dominic is trying to go for 5th. Meanwhile, back up front, Cohen, the gap between Hoodlum and Nick Sant is a little less than 0.2 of a second as the rest of the field tries to catch up. Coming to lap number 15 of 75. So far, that 52 has led every single lap here at IRP. Going into this race, Nick Sant was 20th in the point standings, gained over 5 positions after leading the most laps a few nights ago at Chicagoland. However, after a late race restart, Nick Sant ended up falling back to 11th. In addition, if Nick Sant does win here tonight, it will be the 3rd straight midweek race where a driver gets their first career win. Behind Nick Sant is, of course, the driver tied for the most wins this year so far, Hoodlum in the 3 car. Going into this race, Hoodlum was below the top 10 in points in 12th position after a rather mediocre run a few nights ago at Chicagoland. And of course, the question I brought up for this 3 team a few nights ago at Chicagoland: did they peak too early? Because Hoodlum's last top 10 was his last one at Talladega last month. But fortunately for that 3 team, they've looked very fast at the early portion of this race. Behind those 2 is another Chevy, Matthew Burnett in the 13. He came this race 23rd in the point standings after a very strong run at Chicagoland a few nights ago, ended up finishing 6th. In fact, Spina Biffa as a whole had a really strong night at Chicagoland, as 3 to 5 cars finished inside the top 10. Speaking of Spina Biffa is the 8 car Vrain Vela. She came this race 14th in the point standings, actually was in the lead in the race's final restart, but ended up falling back, ended up finishing 12th. Vela was also the 2nd highest Spina Biffa driver in points, only behind Dominic Payment. There's Trey Smith, the only Ford inside this top 5. Smith, as I mentioned earlier, Smith came this race 24th in the point standings. Has had really bad luck, which is really bad runs these past several races. Really, ever since Watkins Glen, that 66 team has not looked the same. Behind him is Dominic Payment, as I mentioned, the highest running Spanibiffa driver in points, as he's currently 11th in points. And so far, as you may notice, 3 out of the 5 Spanibiffa cars are inside this top 10. So far in this Midwest swing, Spanibiffa is off to a really good start in their home region. Nonagon Scott currently in 7th. Came this race 26th in points. One of 2 Dracone cars currently inside the top 10, the other being Trey Smith in the 66, as I mentioned. And despite a really strong start to the season, Dracone Racing has really struggled here in the Summer Series this year, as all their cars are 24th to 28th in the point standings. Behind him is the highest running RC car, Rospic Train, currently in 8th. RC Motorsports is another team that's mostly struggled here in the GSS season thus far, with the only real exception being Nelson Reeves in that 16. Random J currently in 9th. Still the highest running Pontiac in this field, and Jordan Forbes up to 10th. Currently the highest running Dodge in this running order. Keshawn, as I mentioned, came this race 2nd in points, currently in 11th. RC Gamer currently in 12th. Came this race 34th in the point standings, actually the lowest driver in the point standings who's made every single race. And before last week's race, that record belonged to Dan Matteillo, who's currently behind RC in 13th, as Matteillo is now up to 32nd in points. Nelson Reeves in the 16, currently in 14th, as I mentioned, probably the best RC car so far this season. There's Lipsy currently in 15th, actually the highest running Railfan car so far tonight. Lipsy, of course, was the pole sitter a few nights ago at Chicagoland. However, unfortunately for that 9 team, they finished below the top 15 and came this race 22nd in points. Behind him is John McFadden, who is not only 16th as of right now, but also 16th in the point standings going into this race. Also currently the lowest running Pontiac in points, as all the other Pontiac drivers are inside the top 10. Herbert Solomon currently in 17th. Matthew Hill currently in 18th. Caleb Rose in his 3rd ever GSS start, currently in 19th. As Owen Miles will round off the top 20. There's Miles' teammate David Johnson, currently 21st. As I mentioned, he's the last driver to win a midweek race here in the Summer Series. Dan McTrain currently 22nd. Currently 33rd in the point standings. As that disappointing season continues for Dan McTrain, as he finished inside the top 10 in last year's GSS standings. Ada Robertson currently 23rd. Came this race 21st in points. Warner Street Stocks champion Reim currently 24th. And Jason Albert, one of your point leaders, as he came this race 6th in points, currently 25th. And Brendan Beal, another one of your point leaders, who came this race 5th in points, currently 26th. So far tonight, 7 of your point leaders at IRP running below the top 20. Brendan Carruthers currently 27th. There's your winner from Chicagoland, Brad Reim, currently 28th. Johnny Hernandez currently 29th. Jordan Stout in 30th. Joe T in 31st. And Movement currently in 32nd. That's 3 drivers right there inside the top 10 in points, running below the top 30. And unless something happens here, this race will have huge implications in the points. Devin Payment currently 33rd, the lowest ranking Spanibiffa driver, as he got damage from Kellen Baker, who's currently in 34th. As Baker's teammate Kyle Salmon will round off the running order, currently in the last position. Meanwhile, back up front, Nick Sand, the 52, still leads. As we come to lap number 30 of 75, it's time for some Golf Summer Series. Crank it up. Lap number 37 and 75 here at IRP. Nixon has led every single one of them so far. Hoodlum in the 3 car in second, and Matthew Burnett currently rounding off your top 3. Taking a look at the fastest laps here so far at IRP, and no surprise, it's the top 2 of Nixon and Hoodlum, with Trey Smith currently in 3rd. So as of right now, the 52 and 3 are the cars to beat. Looking at the rest of the fastest laps, Matthew Burnett the 4th fastest, while Reim rounds off the top 5 of the fastest cars. Now, of course, on the straightaways, the best place to be is right up against the wall, while in the turns, the best place to be is actually in the middle, in between the 2 dash lines, which is kind of unusual compared to other short tracks, where usually the best place to be is on the inside. Anyways, the gap between 1st, 2nd, and 3rd, so roughly the same. If anything, Nixon is actually pulling away a little bit from Hoodlum, but not too much. Looking at the distance between the top 3, the distance between Nixon and Hoodlum, so roughly the same. If anything, Nixon is actually pulling away a little bit from the 3 car, while the distance between Nixon and Matthew Burnett has steadily increased. However, the gap has always remained less than a second. Reim is still in 4th. Has actually gained a little bit of ground on Matthew Burnett, but the distance between her and Nixon is still roughly the same. So far this season, Vela only has 2 top 10 finishes. And of course, if Vela stays in her current position right now, this will be her first GSS top 5. Trey Smith still in 5th. As you go on board from here, Smith, in addition to those 2 top 5s, also has 4 top 10s, with the first 3 actually coming from the first 3 races of the season. And of course, another big question and factor for these drivers coming up in the next 20 laps or so are pit stops, as in last year's IRP race, that was basically the deciding factor for the championship. Kellen Baker, who was the championship leader going into the race last year, came in on pit road, while 2nd and 3rd in points at the time, Dana Matteillo and Aiden Thomas, all stayed out, and ultimately, towards the latter part of the race, they had to come down pit road and gave the championship to Kellen Baker. So pit stops, the timing of them, is definitely the name of the game here at IRP. Anyways, looking back to the running order, Dominic Pavement still in 6th. Very solid night for that 55 team, who of course won a few weeks ago at Rockingham. Taking a look at the spectator view, just to give you an idea how far the 52 and 3 are apart from one another. And you can see both of them, frankly everyone in this running order, using that middle line in these turns. And then once they come back on the straightaways, are right up against the wall as they come to lap number 46. And in addition to both the 52 and 3, really utilizing these preferred lines. They've also, of course, kept it clean, always had great entrance and exits into the turns. And no wonder why they're the top 2 in terms of speeds and positions as of right now. If Nixon does indeed hold on to win tonight, who'll be the 2nd driver doing it for Albert Motorsports this year, after Movement's first win at Texas World in May. Coming to lap number 48 of 75. Burnett and Vale continue to slowly but steadily gain on the 52. Next number on that time by Burnett had a really bad lap, lost over 100ths of a second on Nixon, with Vale's distance still about the same. Trey Smith is also slowly but steadily gaining, with the gap now down to a little under 1.5 seconds. Coming to lap number 49 and 75, the gap's still the same between the top 2 and pretty much also the rest of the field. As we go on board with the 3 car of Hoodlum here. Coming to lap number 50, 26 laps ago this time by here at IRP. As we look back to the rest of the field, Kyle Solomon still the last car as of right now in the 35th position. Solomon came to this race 13th in points after a solid win in Chicagoland. Definitely going to be a pretty big hit in points for the Summer Series rookie. His teammate and car owner, Kellen Baker, still in 34th. Your runner-up from Chicagoland, Devin Payment, still in 33rd. Your Texas World winner, as I mentioned, Movement, still in 32nd. Joe T in 17, currently still in 31st, easily Joe T's worst run of the season, other than the lone DNF at Texas World. Same could also be said for Jordan Stout, your points leader, still in the 30th spot. Johnny Hernandez in 29th. Brendan Beal still in 26th. Albert in 25th. Ryan Wilson still in 24th. The RC cars of Ada Robertson and Dan McTrain. In front of them, the two Jacolan cars of David Johnston and Owen Miles, 21st and 20th respectively. Carol Roseman gets third ever start, still in 19th. Another rookie, Matthew Hill, still in 18th. Herbert Solomon in 17th. John McFadden still in 16th. Lipsy still in 15th. Nelson Reeves in 14th. Dan Matteillo in 13th. RC Gamer still in 12th. Actually one of the better runs that 42 team has had this year so far. Keshawn Richardson still just outside the top 10, currently in 11th. As of right now, he would have the points lead over Jordan Stout. Jordan Forbes in 10th as the highest running Dodge, while Random J in 9th is the highest running Pontiac. Ross McTrain in 8th and Nonagon Scott in 7th. These two always seem to do well at these short tracks, as McTrain has a runner-up at Pittsburgh, while Scott has a runner-up at Myrtle Beach. Dominic Payment still in 6th, Trey Smith still in 5th. While Payment's teammate Reim Vale is still in 4th, as he continues to gain a little bit of ground on Matthew Burnett at 13. While first and second of Hoodlum and Nixon continue to dominate. I mean, those two cars have been just incredible here so far tonight. Is definitely going to take something out of the ordinary for these two to lose this race. Coming to lap number 56 to 75, 20 laps to go here at IRP. As into turn one, Hoodlum way up high in the racetrack. So there was a lot of time to Nixon in that 52. It begs the question if Hoodlum got loose going into turn number 1 there, because we've rarely, if not at all, seen that from anyone inside the top 3. But thankfully for that 3 car, he didn't lose too much time on Nixon as we come to lap number 57. Taking a look at the gap now, Matthew Burnett has actually catched up a little bit to Hoodlum. Actually getting almost a full 10th during the last 10 laps or so not too bad there for the 13. Coming to lap number 58 and into turn number 1. A great run from Matthew Burnett off Hoodlum there. And into turn number 3, another good run for Burnett as he continues to inch his way closer and closer to Hoodlum, albeit very slowly, as we come to lap number 59. And I bet you right now, Nixon is loving every single moment of this, as his lead over Hoodlum is almost up to 0.4 of a second. And regardless of what happens to Nixon here tonight, this will be the second race in a row that 52 will lead the most laps as we come to lap number 60. As here we go, we got cars down pit road. They're the damaged cars of Jordan Stout and Kellen Baker. These two drivers are actually technically still scored on the lead lap, but it looks like both crews are looking to repair the damage of both the 21 and 11. I don't know why would you do that this late into the race. As now Burnett's down pit road. Multiple other leaders are down pit road. Nonagon Scott, Ross McTrain, just some of the cars coming down pit road this time by Jordan Forbes, Lipsy, John McFadden, and several others. We're going to see when Nixon comes down pit road. It looks like it's going to be this time by both him and Hoodlum are down pit road as the third group of cars. Rain Vale, Dominic Payment, just some of the other guys down pit road. As Trey Smith, Random J, and RC Gamer also on the track. And with Smith leading this time by, this will be the first lead change of the night's race. Just going to show you how strong that 52 is. As Trey Smith will come down pit road alongside Random J and RC Gamer. In addition to Caleb Rose, Owen Miles, David Johnson, and Brad Reim, movement all down pit road. And while this is happening, Matthew Burnett in the 13 is the first of the leaders to come out back onto the track. It looks like Hoodlum and Nixon are coming back on the track this time by. We'll see if they can beat Burnett on the racetrack. It looks like Burnett's going to go around both Nixon and Hoodlum. Burnett could possibly cycle back around as your leader. There's movement. Brad, Random J still doing his pit stop. Random J had a really bad pit stop there. Had to fix some damage, I believe, in that 53. As now Burnett gets around Trey Smith as he's coming out of pit road. Matthew Burnett will be a leader this time by, and will have a huge one at that. Trey Smith will tuck into second, while Nixon will fall down to third. Nonagon Scott to fourth, Hoodlum in fifth, as Colin Baker is currently 2 laps down. And yep, on the monitor, Matt Burnett, your leader, with over 2-second lead on Trey Smith. Definitely a really bad pit strategy for Nixon and Hoodlum, as both have potentially could fall outside the top 3, as Nonagon Scott is side by side with Nixon going into turns 3 and 4. Off of 4, Scott with the advantage, as Scott will move up to the 3rd position. Now Scott tries to look to the inside of his teammate for 2nd place, as the lap car Colin Baker is still side by side with Hoodlum. As it looks like the 2 Jacqueline cars will capitalize on Hoodlum and Nixon's misfortunes. And there you see the 53 of Random J, currently 30th. He was within the same group as Trey Smith and RC Gamer, who are still inside the top 10 as of right now, but Random's currently 30th. Definitely a really bad points day for the driver that came this race 4th in the standings. And there you see some of the other drivers currently a lap down, Devin Payment in the 88 and Jonas down in the 11. As of course both drivers did get damaged during our lone caution of the race so far. Some of the other drivers that also benefited from this pit cycle, Jonah Forbes in 61. For the cycle he was 10th but currently up to 6th. And Lipsy in the 9 car, as before cycles he was outside the top 10 and 15th. But now he's up to 7th. Definitely going to be a really good points day for the Railfan driver. Going back to the 2nd place driver Trey Smith as we're going on board from here. Currently the gap between him and Matt Menez is almost 3.4 seconds. So Smith's definitely going to hope for a caution to come out in the next couple laps or so as time continues to tick. Some of the other drivers that did not benefit during these cycles are the 2 Spotted Biffa drivers of Rains Vale and Dominic Payment. Vale came into pit road 4th and has actually fallen down to 8th, just shy of her first ever top 5 in the GSS. While Dominic came in 6th and has fallen down to 10th. As Burnett continues to close in on the lap car Johnny Hernandez, but thankfully for Burnett, Hernandez seems to be keeping up with minimum speed as we come to 6 laps to go. As for Trey Smith and the rest of the running order, that's just nothing but bad news because right now, a late race caution to restart the race is rather unlikely. And as of right now, the only chances for anyone other than Matt Burnett to win is if Burnett gets held up by Hernandez and or Burnett has a serious mechanical issue in these next 5 laps. Like I mentioned, Lipsy currently in 7th, a really good pit cycle for that 9 team. Same could also be said for RC Gamer in the 42. He came in 12th and is currently in 9th. Meanwhile, coming to 4 laps to go, Hernandez seems to be pulling away from Matt Burnett. So like I said, at 46 definitely within minimum speed. And even though Burnett has an over 3.5 second lead on Trey Smith, we've seen drivers in this series in the past have big leads yet still lose the race in the final laps. Can Burnett hang on as you come to 3 laps to go here at IRP? As mentioned earlier in the race, Burnett only has 2 top 10 finishes in the GSS this year. If Burnett does indeed hang on, he'll be the 3rd Spotted Biffa driver to win this year after Brady Crothers and Dominic Payment. And as for Trey Smith and Nonagon Scott, both drivers had really good strategies. But in the case of Trey Smith, Burnett came in at the better time. And in the case of Nonagon Scott, who came in at the same time as Burnett had the better pit stop. And as for Nixon, this will be the 2nd straight race in a row the 52 led the most laps, yet not ending up in victory lane. Meanwhile, heading into turns 3 and 4 for the 2nd to last time, Burnett is less than a mile away from victory here in the Summer Series, as this time by white flags in the air. Despite being the first ever pole winner in Random Series history, Burnett has never had a points finish higher than 27th. But now, down the backstretch and into turns 3 and 4 for the final time, the lovable loser is now the lovable winner. And here we go, checkered flag, Matt Burnett is the winner at last at IRP. Congratulations to Matt Burnett and Spotted Biffa Racing, the area winners here tonight at IRP. Definitely a fantastic call for that 13 team to come early, and in addition, they also had a really fast pit stop, so just fantastic pit strategy all around for that 13 team here tonight. Let's take a look at the finishing results and point standings after tonight's race. So here we go, Matt Burnett finishes first for his first ever Random Series 1. Again, a huge congratulations to that team. This one's definitely been a long time coming for Burnett. He's been in the series since day one, so definitely a big congratulations once again to Burnett and the 13 team here tonight. Finishing second is Trey Smith for his best run of the year. Definitely a much needed run for that 66 team that's been struggling these past several weeks. The same could also be said for his teammate Nonagon Scott, who finishes third. Nick Sand finishes fourth, as for the second week in a row, he'll lead the most laps in the race, yet not end up in victory lane. Just yet again another tough break for the 52 team here tonight. Finishing fifth is Hoodlum for his first ever top 10 and top 5 since his Talladega win, so definitely a good confidence booster for the 3 team. Jordan Forbes finishes 6th, Phillipsy finishes 7th, Rein Vela in the 8 car finishes 8th, RC Gamer in 42 finishes 9th, and running up the top 10 is Dominic Payman in the 55. And now for the point standings after race number 12, Keshawn Richardson takes over the points lead from his teammate Jordan Stout by 1 point. Of course, Stout and Richardson both did not have good runs, but Richardson still managed to finish inside the top 20, while Stout finished below the top 30. Joe T, Random J, and Brendan Beal still 3rd, 4th, and 5th respectively in the point standings, while Nelson Reeves moves up to 6th, bottom by 35. Hoodlum back inside the top 10 in points, bottom by 36 and 7th. Dominic Payman in 8th, also behind by 36, but Hoodlum currently has the edge due to his 2 wins. Jason Albert down to 9th, behind by 38, and Bradley Reim running off the top 10, ironically, 40 points behind from the leader. So next up, race number 13 is our final stop on this Midwest swing at the Iowa Speedway in Newton for the Iowa Corn 300. That'll be on July 19th at 7:45 Eastern Standard Time. Of course, after last year's Iowa race, which had a record-setting 10 cautions, there are some changes to note for the race this coming Monday. For one, the I-9 difficulty is set to 98 as opposed to the usual 105. And also, the race will be ran under the daytime as opposed to the nighttime of last year, so it's definitely going to be pretty interesting to see how this changes will translate over to our race over in the Hawkeye State. Well, as always, y'all, thank you guys for watching this race. Hope you guys enjoyed it. And I'll see you guys next time.